Hi folks, and welcome into the Truck King YouTube channel. This is the Chevy Silverado ZR2 Bison fit with a 3-liter Duramax diesel, and that up there is a rooftop tent, an accessory that has become wildly popular in the off-road and overland space. So I felt like we needed to test one. So in this video, we're gonna go sink this truck in the mud and see how that tent affects the performance. And then we're gonna open the tent up, I'll climb up there, we'll take a look at it and see if this really is the ultimate edition. If you wanna go overlanding, make sure you stay tuned. Powering this truck today is the last diesel engine standing in the half-ton truck segment. That is a 3-liter inline-6 Duramax diesel. It makes 305 horsepower and 495 pound-feet of torque, sent through a 10-speed automatic transmission. Now, as I mentioned, we've had this truck a bunch here on the channel. I even compared a brand new Bison to my old 1985 Chevy K10. So if you really want to get into the off-road specs, including looking underneath this truck, go check out those videos. Today, I really want to focus on performance with that tent back there. I will hit a few of the high points though. With the Bison package, you're getting awesome steel bumpers and a really comprehensive skid plate package underneath this truck. You can see it right here. Outside of that, you're getting the ZR2 Multimatic dampers, which really are some of the best in this segment. For tires, a set of Goodyear Wrangler Territory MTs, so a fairly aggressive tire there. A nice rock rail, which offers some serious protection, and that's really what Bison is all about, that protection for your truck. But this is really what I want to talk about, this bed rack and our roof nest rooftop tent. So that is a roof nest Falcon 2. It claims to be the lowest profile tent that Roof Nest sells. So once it's collapsed like this, yeah, it really is quite small. And then the other big number here I have to tell you, this thing weighs 160 pounds. Now that's very important because when you add a rack like this to your bed, this will come with a static load rating, meaning how much weight it can take when it's not moving, and a dynamic load rating, which means just how much weight it can take while you are driving. So if you go to install a rack back here, you do have to pay attention to those numbers because you got to make sure the static rating is good enough for not only the tent, but then obviously for you and maybe someone else and all of your stuff. Now, the other reason I really like having a rack back here in your bed, this one specifically because it's no drill, so really no tools required besides an Allen key to put it all together. But with this setup here, you don't lose access into your bed. You can still store all of your stuff back here, still get to it all. And they say that it's compatible with the tonneau cover. So you could have a tonneau here, store all your gear in the dry, and then also still have your rooftop tent up above. So yeah, a pretty slick setup. You might also be wondering what this is. That's a small propane tank. So you got a nice spot to store your propane. And then we don't have any other accessories here, but I mean, the racks are great because you could attach tools, traction mats, anything you want, hang up on those racks, and once again, leave your bed space clear for some of the heavier or larger, more bulky items. So I definitely like the idea of the rooftop tent, but here's the problem. It's a lot of weight very high up on your vehicle, so we're definitely going to be raising up the center of gravity, and I'm super curious to feel what that does to the truck off-road. And then there's another thing we have to talk about, which is payload. So I mentioned this is 160 pounds right here, and then you also have the weight of a propane tank, of all the stuff you're going to hang back here, and the weight of the rack, and that's going to affect your payload. So let me just take a look at what the payload number is. On this truck, you're only talking about 1,090 pounds of payload. So yes, you got to subtract all this weight off. That's going to leave you with well under 1,000 pounds for you, your passengers, and whatever else you bring up there into your truck. So if overlanding is something you really want to get into, you have to be sensitive to those payload numbers and try to make sure that once you're fully loaded with all your stuff, you're still not going to be overloading your truck. Let's pause now to thank the sponsor of this video, Quad Lock. They make high quality mounts for your phone or other devices. And what I really like about their in-car mounts is there's a number of different versions. So you can get a windshield suction mount. I got one of those and put it in my truck, Big Green. You can get a sticky mount for your dash, or what we're using today here in this Silverado ZR2 is the vent mount. And you can see I've added on the wireless charging head. So you simply slap your phone up there. If it has the Quad Lock case, it locks in, and now it is charging. And I think the most important selling point is doesn't matter which mount you get, they're all super secure and solid. If you're off-road, if you're bouncing down a rough road, it doesn't matter, it's gonna hold on to that phone, so you have no worries. So if you're in the market for a new mount for your phone, make sure you check out Quad Lock. All right, folks, time to go off-road now. We're going to start off with the ditch crossing. And of course, I've done all these obstacles with this truck, but today it's really feeling for any differences that are apparent now that I've got that tent and that rack back there. So we're in 4 high, and I've got it in off-road mode, nothing locked up. Of course, this truck does have front and rear lockers, and it's actually been raining today and a lot yesterday. So everything's really slick and muddy, so that might make it more interesting today too. But here we go. So dropping into the ditch here, trying to carry no momentum and seeing if I can just do this as slow as possible. And the moment of truth is right about here when that driver's side tire contacts the other side and needs to climb. Alright, come on, baby. Climb, climb. Nice. I didn't feel any slip whatsoever. Cool. Okay, as my rear end kind of came off, I felt like, yeah, it's a little heavier than normal, but nothing major. Now let's go run through the ruts and once again, yeah, see if I can feel any difference. And now same deal, I'm not locking up. These are designed to test my lockers, and it's really slick today, so we're gonna see if we need them, but I'm not locking up going in. And this really does flex the truck quite a bit. So again, I'm curious to see if I feel that weight sort of pulling me over. So we go as slow as we can. And right about now, my rear passenger is going to lift. Oh, and now it's slipping. Slipping. Come on. Come on. It's fighting for traction. Traction control is trying to get me there. Nice. Now the same moment's going to happen here. It's slipping. The truck's trying to figure it out. It's trying to figure it out. Nice. It's always so impressive. Because, of course, if I was locked up, this would walk right through here. But what's happening is when the truck senses that slip, it's using the brakes mostly and traction control to send the power across to the wheel that needs it. That's impressive. And then you simply have the fact that these tires have so much grip, and even though it did slip quite a bit, the truck figured it out. And I guess the simple explanation on the tent so far is I really don't feel it making much difference at all. And you know what? Now, let's go open that tent up and explore some of the features, shall we? And I'll show you all around and tell you everything you need to know about this roof nest. Let's do it. Well, let's set the tent up now. Now, before I do want to show you for this application, this multi-flex tailgate is awesome because you put that step down and it actually helps me get up here and work right with this tent. So yes, if you're going to be overlanding, I absolutely recommend you get this tailgate. Now, Roof Nest says that this thing should set up in under a minute, which is, you know, pretty quick. And we're going to put it to the test. Now, I have practiced this, so I kind of know what I'm doing. Right now, I'm going to set it up, and then we'll talk about it. Let's do it. And there you go, folks. That is pretty painless. I'm not sure it was under a minute. I'd probably say 1 to 2 minutes, but still, that's incredible. And that's a huge benefit to a rooftop tent. While your buddy is next to you fumbling around with tent poles, worrying about the wind and the rain, all you do is open it up. This thing pops open, throw in your 2 bars there for the rain fly and hook your ladder up. It really is that easy. So yes, set up here on this rooftop tent specifically, but on just about every rooftop tent is a big advantage as to why you might get one of these things. Now I've got it set up where I want it. Let me show you some of the features on this tent. So first of all, of course, you have the ladder. The hookups for this ladder can be moved. So you can put it on the other side or you can put it on the back because this tent does open in 3 different separate areas. And yeah, come take a look inside. This thing really is quite spacious. Once it's all opened up like this, you're talking about 48 inches wide by 86 inches long. I mean, I stand at 6'2", and I'll show you. When I'm fully laying down here, I'm still not touching down there with my feet, so I'd have a bit of space to pack stuff in down there. And I'm fully comfortable, and it'd be no problem to have somebody lying here next to me too. So yeah, really nice to have such a big space. Now on the floor here, this is a 2-inch memory foam mattress. So you're also getting a really nice mattress right from the factory. You're getting this detachable pocket up here too, so for storing all your stuff. And then you probably noticed too, LED lighting. Now this is being run by our USB battery pack, so you do need to bring your own battery pack. But yeah, you even get the lighting in here. And I really like the idea that you have this hard shell cover up here, which is keeping the majority of the weather off you. So yeah, this roof nest for camping out would be really, really nice. I like it, and now you guys can leave and I'm just gonna have a nap. Okay. Oh, I need a pillow. All right, folks, now you've seen how the rooftop tent sets up. And we did some mild off-roading with it on there. Now we're gonna do some real off-roading. We're here on our brand new trail, Uppercut. So we're gonna start going up Uppercut, and then we're gonna come down into the deep mud on the left hook. And I'll say right off the top, so right now I'm doing a little 3-point turn, and we got to maneuver onto this trail because it's kind of tight. When it comes to this rooftop tent, it's something you have to remember. Suddenly your entire rig is taller. Not significantly taller, but yes, that tent sits above the level of the cab. So you have to make sure that you're always looking up. And, you know, we clear these trails to be wide and just tall enough, and now suddenly I got a taller truck, so my eyes just keep looking up to make sure I'm not going to be clipping any big branches up above the truck. But I will also say that this tent we specifically have today, the Falcon 2, Roof Nest says that it's one of their lowest profile tents. So that's another good thing about it, is it's really not adding a ton of height, but it is adding some. You can't forget about it up there. So this is actually the second vehicle we've had on this new trail. The only other truck to do this is my truck, Big Green. And when I did it, it was bone dry. Today, it's pretty wet. So not too much slippage yet, and I do give a lot of credit to these Wrangler Territories for being quite good out here in this soft stuff. But when we get to the hill up ahead, yeah, it could get interesting. Now the other thing I want to say about the rooftop tent, sort of the handling with it, what I've been feeling so far today is that when the speeds are slow, when you're really just picking through stuff like I am here, there's just not a massive difference in handling. I can feel the tent up there as the truck kind of falls from side to side. It definitely feels a little heavier, a little floppier maybe is a good word than stock, and that's because I have so much extra weight up above the belt line. But as the speeds pick up, of course the forces pick up, and that's when you really feel it. So cornering on road, you absolutely feel it. And then even off road at 20, 30 kilometers an hour, sort of, 15 miles an hour, you definitely feel it a little bit more, pulling the truck wide around some of those corners. So yeah, if high speed off-roading is what you want to do, you probably don't want a rooftop tent. There was my first instance of getting a little slippery and stuck there. And again, it's muddy out here, folks. I can feel the truck dancing around a little bit. And I said this in our first video on the trail. I'll say it again right now. It's tight through some of these sections, some of which we're going to have to get out here with the chainsaw and still fix up. This is still sort of uppercut 1.0. The more we run it, the more we'll see what needs to be cleared, and we will be back out here soon enough to make it a bit wider. But for now, it's tricky driving, man. You really got to be paying attention to your corners. And especially once I started slipping there, there's not a lot of room for error. We left ourselves no margin here. So if you do start slipping sideways, you're slipping into a tree. Other thing I want to mention right now is the camera system. If you watched our recent ZR2 video out at the Off-Road Academy, we said it there, and we really use the cameras. But I'll say it again, this trail is tight, and the cameras automatically come on when you start to get close to some of these obstacles, and I'm absolutely using them. Uh-oh. Come on. Come on. Come on. Oh, and she's a little soft through here. I'm going to try to speed up just a hair. Oh, it's slipping now. It's slipping now. This is the swampy section, which right now, again, isn't too swampy because there's not a lot of standing water. But come the springtime, this entire thing is going to be underwater. So the ground underneath me is so soft. We got this big rock out here. Oh, man. It's a big loose rock, and it doesn't want to climb it. Let me back up. And let's see if we're going to clear that rock. So far, so good. Okay. Nice. Well, guys, it's feeling slippery out here. And now we're going to try the hill. And the issue with this hill is it's not straight up. It's a bit of a side angle hill. So if I don't have grip, it could get sketchy real quick. And here we go. Still in four-wheel drive high, off-road mode. And I am slipping all over the place right now. Come on, baby. Come on. Come on. Come on. Here we go. Here we go. Bit of momentum, and I don't want to stop here. But I also can't go too crazy because I'm so close to these trees. Come on. Oh, sliding sideways. Now we got all these loose rocks. That should actually help me get some grip. Sliding a little bit. Come on. Come on. Ooh. Nicely done, ZR2. Well, it's slick out here, folks, and I don't care what tires you run. Anything was going to slide through there. But the ZR2 did a nice job. Power got to the ground. Love the torque delivery from this diesel. And once again, the rooftop tent up above. Sure, you can feel it a little bit. The rear end of the truck obviously feels a little heavier than it would from stock, but it's just not a massive difference. Now, I should also qualify that by saying this is one of the smaller rooftop tents from Roof Nest, so you can get something that's, 200 pounds plus. You're going to feel it. Every pound you add up there, you're going to feel it more and more. But as this tent goes, yeah, I wouldn't say it had a huge effect on off-roading at all. We got one more little section here on the left hook. Okay, coming downhill now, I am using hill descent control. Set right now to just 1 kilometer an hour. You use the cruise control buttons to change the speed. Yeah, it's doing a nice job. But this mud down here is sloppier than ever, so I am going to have to get a bit of momentum to get through here, I think. But yeah, hill descent, really nice. And then always the great thing with these systems, you don't have to touch anything, just simply hit the throttle and away you go. And here we go. Smash down into the ruts. Oh yeah, come on baby, bit of speed. And I'm probably gonna belly drag. Oh yeah, belly drag right there. And I feel it through here. Definitely. So again, I said it, as the speeds pick up, you feel the tent more, and through there, especially when I kind of slid sideways into that rut and then the mud was throwing me side to side, I could feel that weight back there again, just wanting to tip the truck a little bit more. So I guess maybe this is obvious, but I think my overall conclusion here is you just got to really be careful with sort of your side-to-side stability when you add that rooftop tent, because it feels like with the weight so high above the belt line, as you tip side to side, it just wants to pull the truck, the rear end of the truck, around a little bit more than I am used to. Not a huge difference, but it's definitely there. So there is a bit of a learning curve if you're adding that rooftop tent up top, something that you just need to feel for, be aware of, and if you are aware of it, yeah, you can definitely drive to compensate. And the other thing too is just keep your speeds down, because once the speeds pick up, those forces, are acting on the truck with a lot more power. That's when things could maybe get a little bit hairy. I did want to come out here on road as well and just quickly speak to how the tent affects your vehicle dynamics. And it's exactly what I kept saying off-road. Once your speeds pick up, the tent becomes more apparent for sure. So I am on a straight road here, but even just doing a little bit of this side to side, oh yeah, you feel it wallowing a little bit more. You feel that weight kind of pulling the truck over from side to side. And then when you're going around corners, it's that same feeling. Makes the truck kind of want to push wide too. So you do have to compensate a little bit in your driving style because you have that tent up there. And then there's another thing. Once you have the rack back there, there's so many different points that thing is bolted together. There's a little bit of rattling going on. It does sort of squeak a little bit as well. So there's some noises that are apparent that come into the cab. Roof Nest, or actually the rack manufacturer, they recommend after 15 to 20 miles of driving, you go back there and retorque your bolts. Now, we didn't have this truck before a couple days ago, and when we got it, it did seem like a few of those bolts were already a little bit loose. So that's something else you have to be aware of. Go back, retorque all your bolts, make sure everything is secure, because if you don't, I'm sure the squeaks and rattles only get worse. Now, I will say, I think on the positive side, the wind noise is quite good. I was expecting more of a whistle, more reminiscent of like a roof rack. Some roof racks can have a bit of a whistle, a bit more wind noise to them. I would say it's there when I really listen for it, but it's not massively noisy just in terms of the actual wind. So that is a positive with this Roof Nest for sure. By now you're wondering, well, what does that tent cost? Well, on roofnest.com right now, this tent is listed for a little bit under $2,000. If you do get some of the really big models, you can get up to about $4,000. So yes, it's more expensive, absolutely, than your traditional tent, but I think the advantages are enough to warrant it in terms of how quickly it sets up, the fact that you actually have sort of a structure above your head and underneath you, and then just the simple fact that you have peace of mind of not being on the ground. You don't have to worry about water pooling, animals, anything like that. So for all those reasons, I totally get why these things can be a little bit expensive. And then I should also say that, of course, today we're testing it on a truck, which means you also need the bed rack back there. But these Roof Nest tents will fit on just about any style of vehicle. 4Runners, Jeep Wranglers, you name it, they will have a tent for you. Well, folks, we have come to the end of this video. Now, there's a few things I can confirm after doing what we did today. The first one is, if you have a rooftop tent, yes, it will affect the driving dynamics of your vehicle, but even more so on-road at high speeds than off-road crawling along. But it's just something to keep in mind. You are going to have to compensate for it up there. And then the second thing is that, honestly, I think there are a massive amount of advantages going with a rooftop tent. So if you really are into this camping and overlanding thing, I can totally see it being worth it springing for one of those setups. So yeah, folks, that's it for this one. Now I need to hear from you. I just did a little bit of testing with this rooftop tent, but if you own one, if you live with one all the time, I would love to hear your thoughts on everything I had to say. So go down there in the comments and let me know what you think about this whole rooftop tent trend. And then, as always, while you're down there, don't forget to hit like, hit subscribe, hit join to become a member, and come right back here to Truck King to see what we're testing next. See ya.